Would you believe me if I told you that the Sapiens back in their day had their own unique data processing system? And we are not the first ever to use complex data processing today. Well, if you would like to know more about that, stay tuned. But before we go further, subscribe to the channel, watch, like, and share this video with all your family and friends. So, back to the main topic. Now, before we talk about the data processing system of the Sapiens, let's take a bit of a detour. Now, if we see and observe animals, we'll realize that they have their own unique social order, which is kind of ingrained in their DNA. For example, if you look at bees, it's ingrained in their DNA to know who is the queen bee, who is the worker bee, and based on that, they do different tasks. But for us, we have come up with fictional ideas and stories. For example, who is the king, who is the subject, who is the merchant, who is the worker. And once we started doing that, we could work upon these stories to form large groups, large tribes, bands, and eventually kingdoms. And once we had these kingdoms, there was a need to maintain some kind of an inventory or record. For example, how many apples did farmer A take from farmer B? And how many cows did farmer B need to give farmer A? Or just how many taxes did the citizens need to pay the kingdom? Now, the human brain is amazing, but it has its own limitations. And if you look, we are not that great with numbers. We do not have a natural instinct for numbers. Even back in the day, the foragers did not need to know how many fruits were there in the tree. They only needed to know, looking at the color, if it was edible or not. And the human brain also has a fixed capacity. For example, even if someone could remember numbers, there was only some extent to which they could remember all these different numbers. And what if that person who remembered the inventory and records for the system passed away? Then would all the taxes that the citizens owed, would that just disappear overnight? Well, we wish that would happen. So there was a need to maintain some kind of record or inventory. And the ancient Sumerians were the first one to use data processing. And what they used? Well, it was simple. They used writing. Now, when we say writing, it wasn't the complex script that we have today. In that script, you probably couldn't compose love songs or write plays like Shakespeare. But it was enough to maintain an inventory and record of who owed how much, and to maintain some kind of a idea of what the territory of the kingdom was. For example, archaeologists have found some tablets which show something like this: 29,086 measures barley, 37 months Kushim, which probably says that there was someone named Kushim who owed 29,086 measures of barley and had 37 months to pay it. Interesting, right? And around the world, there were different kinds of scripts. For example, in the Andes, in the South America, over there is example of something called kuipu, which is tying knots on colorful cords, which were used by them to perform mathematical calculations and to maintain some kind of record and inventory. And this was so good that even after the Spaniards came there, even they used this to administer their kingdoms efficiently. Well, so these are some perspectives and insights on the first data processing system ever. I hope you found this interesting. Till the next video, take care and thank you.